This is another video about whether lighter shafts go further than heavier shafts in irons, but this one is a little bit different. This one is different because I have two of exactly the same shaft. I've got Project X 5.5 shafts in these two clubs. This is a demo head and it's the Cleveland Launcher XL. I've built these shafts in such a way that I've got this one with heavier head and this one with a lighter head. And basically the heavier shaft has a tip weight right in the end before it was built. When I used to work at Wilson Staff, they basically had in the workshop lots of different boxes full of club heads. And the boxes at the top were the lighter heads, the medium heads and the heavy heads, where they just have variations in the manufacturing process. When you build a longer set of irons, the head feels heavier, so they'll use the lighter heads. When you build a shorter set of irons, they'll use the heavier heads because it naturally feels lighter being closer to your hands. And what they're trying to achieve there is the same feel if you've got an inch long or an inch short, which is why it's often good to get the clubs from the manufacturer when you have a difference in length. However, if you know about the swing weight scale, we normally look around about a D3 swing weight for a standard set of irons. I've got C9 and D5 in these two shafts. So this is the swing weight scale here. We put the club in this device. If I put some weight on this end, it's going to move it around. We move this up and down to measure what the swing weight is on a club. We get it just right. We use something like lead powder to increase the swing weight. That goes down the shaft into the head end of the club to make this part heavier. This is a tip weight that would generally go in the end of the shaft to target a certain swing weight. If the head's not quite got enough mass in it, that will go in the end of the shaft to bring the weight up. And it's something like this, where that weight goes in the end and then it gets glued into the head. There is a little hole in there so the air can go down the shaft, something like that. So to get this to a target weight, we have to be very careful with the balancing of it. Something like a business card can go on the end here and throw it out of sync. So then that comes down one swing weight point, just under one full one, to give it the same balance. So it's very delicate. I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 swing weights lighter in this test. So essentially 6 business cards worth of weight. But you'll be surprised at how much that can actually change the feel of a club. This is the C9, so it's the lighter swing weight. It's got a lighter feel to it. There's less weight in the end of the head. The components are the same weight, it's the same length, but the balance is just that little bit different. So I'm going to hit some test shots here. Very nice. And when I tested the last lighter to heavier shaft test, I had a 95 gram shaft against a 120 gram shaft, and I'll put that link in the description if you want to see the results on that one. I'm not going to tell you here because I want you to watch that video. Absolutely ripped through that one. I am fairly warm. I've done a little bit of gym work today, so I'm feeling quite fast and powerful. Really fast, but a little bit left. The main thing I'm looking for in this test is literally just the club head speed that I generate from the change in build. But there will be some changes in direction and flight and height and spin and all that fun stuff, potentially. So I unscrew this shaft, and then I go for the same shaft in a different swing weight. So the balance is very different in this. I can feel way more weight at the head of the club. Does it slow me down or does it do the same thing? In ladies' clubs, the swing weight is lighter to encourage more speed, to encourage less resistance through the golf ball. And if you order a set of irons from the brand, you can request different swing weights. You can ask them to target a certain swing weight. Now I'm putting the same effort into these swings, but it is harder to draw the power into the ball with this heavier swing weight, but not impossible. Let's go back to C9. Whoa. That felt way easier to release into the ball. I did hit the ground a little bit early. Now when I'm cycling from a heavy swing weight to a light swing weight, I'm feeling a big difference and it's making me change and adjust. I have to feel the club in a different place, which is why normally with a stock set of clubs, the swing weights are quite uniform. They're slightly lighter with the drivers. They get to like D1, D2 with the driver, down to D3 with the irons, up to D4, D5 with the wedges. It is progressive through the set. It's not a good idea to have a different swing weight set of irons and then not do the same thing with the rest of your bag. If you're going to go lighter in the swing weight and the irons, you want to go lighter in the woods and lighter in the wedges, so we do get a nice blended profile through the bag. If your clubs are being built by a club builder or if they're being ordered from a brand, you can specify swing weights like I said before. Ultimately, when you have a certain swing weight in the bag, irons, wedges, woods, you get used to it, you tune into it. When you're changing swing weight swing to swing, you're going to feel the bigger difference. You're going to have to adjust a little bit. But let's face it, no one's going to be doing that apart from me. For your benefit, obviously. Right, I'm really going to wind up. I'm really going to unleash into these last couple. What is my maximum speed? I don't feel slow. So going back into the heavier swing weight, can I achieve the same speeds going absolutely flat out? Those last two did spike. I remember hearing ages ago, they reckon Tiger Woods can pick up a golf club and tell you exactly what swing weight it is because his feel is supreme. That didn't feel slow, but it might have been slower than the other one. That was fast. Ooh. Ooh, I'm seeing numbers on this box. Ooh. Hugging the left side, I normally prefer a flatter lie angle. The lie angle can move the direction of the golf ball. I'm just looking at shafts. So just looking at the raw data on a couple of bits I don't see on the next screen. Peak height, the highest point the ball reaches is 108 with the lighter shaft, 107 with the heavier shaft, negligible. Speed looking very similar in terms of ball speed. I want to see what the club speed does. Carry 190 against 189, 5 yards of variance against 5 yards of variance. So the flight paths look very similar, the dispersions look very similar. I did think the lighter might go further left, but it didn't. They've both gone in the same sort of area, right, marginally faster with the lighter shaft, marginally higher, marginally lower spin, marginally further, looking very similar. So my pursuit of finding something that goes faster is looking very slim. The strikes were slightly better with the heavier shaft because potentially we've got more mass coming into the ball, so anything off center doesn't deflect as much because we've got a bit more mass holding it there through the ball. My swing path didn't really change, my angle of attack didn't change, although slightly tighter dispersion on the heavier shaft, slightly less variance. Interesting. 96.1 was my fastest with the heavier shaft. My fastest with the lighter swing weight was 97.9. So with the lighter swing weight, I did reach a higher point, but the standard deviation, the variance within this model was 1.1 on the lighter. And then on the heavier swing weight, my standard deviation, my variance was 0.5. So the heavier swing weight, although it didn't reach a faster speed on the maximum shot, it stayed more uniform. I did get faster with the C9 lighter swing weight, however, there was more variance. And the averages ultimately leveled out at something very similar. I've got marginal gains there. Maybe if I have a heavier swing weight in a heavier shaft against a lighter shaft and a lighter swing weight, I might get a compounded difference between the two. And what I'm really trying to do here is I'm trying to find one thing that makes a big difference that can help all of you. But at the minute, I'm only seeing little tiny bits.